Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
Looking at accountants and lawyers, 75% of the time, 25% of the time, you're warming up banks. And now, you know how I say I never gave candy, never flowers, any of that. I'm almost in the candy and flower giving mode to the banks. You call up, they do a tombstone in Wall Street Journal. Cardinal Hale's $22 billion convertible debenture for bullshit. And then they have the bulge bracket banks, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank. Then they have the secondary banks, a bunch of banks. Then they have the tertiary banks. And you call up a tertiary bank, First Bank of Kansas. And the general manager is the president and probably the largest shareholder. And hi, I see that you're part of the credit, the Cardinal Credit. Yes. Are you still in the healthcare lending mode? Of course, you saw it on Sunday, you're calling them on Monday. But are you still in the healthcare lending mode? Oh, of course we are. He says, well, fine. He says, can I talk to the credit officer for healthcare? And the vertical is assisted living. Well, you're talking to him because the guy is the manager. He does everything. And you say, well, and then he's going to say, do you have a business plan? Or, well, I think that's a little premature. I mean, we don't know if there's any chemistry here or any rapprochement for you that can speak French. But if you can answer 2 or 3 simple questions for me, you already said you're in the lending mode in that vertical. That's great. What is your general lending parameters? And after you jerk them around and you follow the scripts, they'll say 3.5 to 6 times EBITDA, but our sweet spot's 5 times EBITDA, if that's what it is. But they'll try to get you to come in, and they'll try to get a deal out of you, but you're not coming in or giving them a deal. So you can go through 50 banks in a day. You'll probably be a week. 50 banks in a week, and you get the same answers, and it's going to be 3.5, because even though they don't, it's against the law to control interest rates and things like that, everybody knows what everybody else is doing. And so after you get 10 or 15 banks that say 3.5 to 6, and your sweet spot's 5, you can, with your hand on your heart, when you go to talk to the motivated seller, and they want, they don't measure it to EBITDA. And by the way, your LOIs are written vis-a-vis based on EBITDA spreads, not money. The business brokers I tell you not to go to are going to try to pound you for a dollar amount, a euro amount, or a pound amount, or a Swiss franc amount. Fine, fuck yourself. Buy it yourself, asshole. EBITDA spread. That's what's in the LOI. They will focus, when you put 3.5 to 5.5 times EBITDA, they will focus on the 5.5 times EBITDA, the seller and the broker, and you're really want to only give them 3.5 times EBITDA. So the banks have now told you what the spread is. So you can put your hand on your heart, or where your heart's supposed to be, and you can say, I'd love to do business with you, broker, or ma'am, or Arvie, or Margaret, whoever you are, but there's no way I can get that financed. And now with higher interest rates, they believed you before, now they believe you even more. Or they're not serious about selling. So now you've warmed up banks. We're going to give you a time schedule to keep to. Amber did it in the time schedule. Nobody else in her class have I heard from. And I probably never will. Now, the only moving part in this model is the motivated seller. Now it's time for you to lock horns like the He-Man that you are, the John Wayne of financial deals, to find the motivated sellers. Occasionally, you'll find them on LinkedIn. But the people that you've heard, Gabriel cold called some of them, got some of them from a broker, got 1 or 2 of them from the people he already bought, and got 1 or 2 of them from his board members. Now that he's done so many deals, his board members should be much more giving of their information. And the first words out of your mouth are, the best time to cold call these businesses is Sunday evening through the weekend and before 8 o'clock in the morning, because the only one that's answered the phone is the owner. And it's short and sweet. Hi, my name's Dan Peña. I'm founder of Assholes Anonymous, and we're looking to roll up assisted living or whatever the fuck it is. Have you ever thought about selling your business? And then you shut up. The next one that talks loses. That's it. If they say, and then yes, or I've thought about it, I'm 75 years old, blah, 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 you got them. Next move. Now, when Josh Kim in his later years, of course, later years, he said, well, instead of us wasting each other's time, I'll send an NDA over, and I'm glad to sign one. We're rolling up companies. Of course, he had already rolled up a bunch. We're rolling up companies at between 3.5 and 6 times EBITDA. We're glad to look at I'll be happy to look at your financials. If you're serious, send me your 3 years financials and internal financials and your 3-year tax returns. And they either send them or they don't. Next. And you need 40, 50 of those. And 40 or 50 may turn into 5 or 6 or 7 LOIs. Yes, sir.
When you're giving them the sales pitch, do you say that you're calling from a firm that does the roll-up, or you introduce yourself?
They don't ask that. Or if they're asking you that, there's something else wrong. Now, the other way of doing it, once you hear they say yes, and let me send you some information. Then you send them the mission statement, the executive summary. But that does one of two things. Sometimes it overwhelms them, scares them, or it verifies that you're somebody, and they don't ask whether you can come up with the money. After you've done deals, nobody asks you whether you can come up with the money because you've already done deals. I didn't used to send over the executive summary. I just wanted, when you sell cars, Cadillacs that I used to sell, and Lincoln Town cars, they didn't ask to see the financials of the car dealership. Some of the people, they'll say, of course, now there's Google. Now, in my judgment, you do not need business cards or a website. You're all going to get business cards and all get a website because you're insecure. You should be able to sell it on your own. So what are you going to put on the website? We're not going to discuss this in any depth. Just ask yourself. That you're 38 years old and last week you wanted to blow your brains out and your daughter's a crack whore, and what are you going to put on it? You're an overweight, has-been Russian at 33. What are you going to... No, you don't need a website. And you have more than 95% of the people out there because you've got a board. You've got an executive summary, but I'm telling you not to do it. The more information you give them, the more questions they ask. Any questions about anything I've gone through so far? Yes.
Did you say to call them on the weekend?
I know you play tennis on the weekend, so I know you won't be doing that.
I don't.
Maybe you're going to take up boxing now. Yes, you call on the fucking weekend, you fucking morons. The only people that are there on the weekends are the owners. Jesus. You call Friday night, the only person there is the owner. You call 6:30, 7 o'clock, Monday through Friday in the morning, because the only one there is the owner. This is blatantly on my website. I must have said it 50 times on fucking YouTube. For those of you that have read every single thing I've ever written. And for those of you that heard every motherfucking word I've ever said on YouTube, yep.
You don't call them on midday in the business hours because, first of all, you're not talking about calling office number. We're talking about calling the personal number.
No, you're calling about office numbers because that's how you cold call to get to these people.
What about searching direct information?
No. How did you get my number, asshole? My number's unlisted. You call during office hours, you're going to talk to a secretary, an assistant, a nurse, a fucking crazy person that's wandering the halls. When we go visit Sally's mother in the assisted living she lives in, and she lives in a high class one, unfortunately, 2 visits ago, I opened the door to let a guy that was delivering flowers in, and an old man, boom, bolts out the door, and he's running down the street with his half naked like this. Now, I feel a little bad about this, and so I go, and I can't run so fast because of my knees, and so attendant, it's all right. He won't get more than a block, and he'll collapse. But what if he runs in the street? Those are the kind of places you're putting your parents. And you go to some of these doors in the bathroom. I don't like to go to the bathroom at the assisted living over there because there's claw marks. Because they lock them in the bathroom. It's like, you see the horror movies when they're trying to claw out of the grave. Fuck. But that home is where we're sending Sally. And Sally said that if I'm going to share a deal with my mom, it's got to be much more high class. The $25,000 a month job. Okay. Who's my 5:30? 6. 6:30.
What about skip tracing? I heard some of your mentees using it.
What?
Skip tracing.
Dick Tracy.
Skip tracing is a website that finds owners of businesses by going through public information on LLCs.
So there's a guy that tells you how to get phone numbers?
There's websites that sell publicly available information that say whoever registered LLC, you can find that name.
Sure you can.
And then to call them
Yeah,
directly.
but I mean, a lot of people turn their fuck. Have you seen me touch a cell phone since you've been here? Most of the big guys don't. And you're stupid enough to take emails on your cell phone because you don't value your time because you're a fucking moron. Steve Jobs does not take emails on his fucking phone. Elon the fucking Musk does not take emails on his fucking phone. He has more self-worth about his time. You all do. When we talk about the habits of the big timers, you don't do any of them. Marcus spends 8 to 12 hours a day on the treadmill. He has a walking treadmill under his fucking thing. 8 to 12 hours a day. Somebody's hand went up. Yeah.
For the companies that you own and they're running on them themselves, how much time do you go in just to go
None.
check?
I spend no time. I look at the numbers, depending on how much I believe in you, I look at the numbers either daily, weekly, monthly. I don't trust anybody enough to look at quarterly numbers. Daily. And if you're in the selling business, marketing, Dan Locke checks the cash balances twice a day. Twice a day. Of course, with the greatest respect, he's dealing with all those little ninjas that would steal your eyes out in half an hour. Yeah, Babson, what?
So you said for the LOIs we should offer an EBITDA range. I understand that.
Gee,
we should
that's
also.
terrific.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We should also do lowball offers. When do the lowball offers come in? Like when there's.
Well, because when they said, well, you said that it was 3.5 to 6, I said, you didn't focus on the 3.5. And now that I've seen your numbers, that's 2.5.
So we lowball them after they've signed and we've moved forward. Okay.
I used to because when I got so good at it, I said 3.5 to 6, but I only put 3.5 to to suck you into the Venus flytrap, buddy. I have no intention of paying you 3.5. Now what are you going to do? Because I knew I had 1,000 more. And if they hesitate, have a nice day, asshole. Then you get smart-ass at it like I used to. Because I knew I had 700 or 800 more people to sell. But you've got not one person. So you're going to jump on that one person with your 1-inch dick. And even though you don't like, you're not bisexual, you're going to fuck him in the ass like it was the last fuck of your life. Or try to. Belgium, I believe, knows what I'm talking about. Okay, go ahead.
If you can't get to the owner the first day...
No. Stop. Well, then, next. You're going to be cold calling motherfuckers. I just can see you just rattling that shit off. Not. Okay. 5:30, I'll see you in a few minutes. You do see Steve tonight. I was a day out of sync, I think. Okay, kids. No handouts tonight, or today, I should say.